So this is the mic cable. The mic cables are situated and stored on the hooks. Basically, a mic cable, you've got two ends. You've got your female end. It's a 3-pin one.
Known as male end.
The male end and the female end.
So,
also a 3-pin. So with the mic cables, we've got what we call a junction box. And as you probably can see from the junction box, they're all labelled, they're all numbered, but they've also got the notices on
names
and corresponding colours for the mic heads. So the male end goes into the junction box as such, and the microphone also has the male end of the microphone. 3-pin end of the microphone goes into the female end of the mic cable. And then we've got different coloured heads, as you probably saw from the junction box, and they correspond.
And why do we use these?
It makes it easier for when we're mixing. So instead of saying microphone 5, we can say yellow mic.
So you can actually see from the mixing desk,
who's
who. Yeah.
And then most singers hold the mics anyway, but we just leave them in the microphone stand for ease of storage.
So this would be input.
Yes.
And so it goes down the cable to...
Goes into the cable, into the junction box.
The signal, yep.
And then the junction box is connected to the mixing desk, which we'll show later on.
Okay. So one difference between a jack cable and a mic cable is both ends of this are identical.
Yeah. So this is a jack cable. We use these for instruments, for example the bass, guitar and synth, and also the keyboards. The difference, well, you can clearly see the difference in ends.
Slight difference, if it's got an extra ring it means it's stereo as well as mono, but that's a fairly minor difference.
These don't go into the junction box. We have a separate, what we call DI box.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what the DI stands for, to be honest with you.
Direct injection, I think it is, I'm not sure.
So the DI box, this connects to the junction box with just the mic cable, goes in that end. And this then, obviously the jack cable, then goes into the input, and the other end goes into the
Guitar or keyboard
end input, output, goes into there. This then goes into the junction box, and then the junction box through to the mixing desk. So this is another stage box. This is where, as it says, these are basically the musical instruments that go from. There's another DI box, a more fancy DI box than the one that we saw before.
So we're at the back of the church keyboard.
So these are the jack cables that we saw before. These two jack cables go into the DI box.
So they go into the front there,
There's these two here, two black ones, aren't they? Yeah, the two black ones that come out at the top, these go into the keyboard monitor.
So the pianists can hear themselves.
Yeah.
Now the reason for that is that in the current church keyboard, which is a Casio Privia, there are no speakers. So if the pianist didn't have this monitor here, he or she would struggle to hear themselves. That's why that's needed. Now there's cables in the back relevant to the keyboard, is that right?
Yeah, as you can see, there's two coming out of the back for these two here, and these two go into the stage box.
So from the back of the DI box down to the
shift yourself out of the way. Down to these two here.
Stage box. Got it. So this is the singer's mic, pianist singer's mic if they're singing, and this is the green cable, which would be the far left one. Is it still the far left one?
Yeah.
On that stage box.
That stage box again. This stage box here again goes down to the mixing desk with the.
So this is by the church piano.
Yeah.
That's where we are just now. Okay, so what inputs here have we got? We've got is it 2 for the drum kit?
That used to be the drum kit. The labelling there is incorrect at the moment because we used to have a snare mic and a kick mic for the manual drum kit. Oh, sorry, the acoustic drum kit. Yep. However, now we've got a electric drum kit, so I think it's just one cable, but I'm not sure which one it is.
Yeah, and that green mic, that's really principally for whoever's at the church keyboard.
Yes.
For their voice.
For the vehicle,
their voice. Yeah, okay.
Then we've got dual input for the keys, so we can put them through separate speakers if needed.
Left and right, so you've got some sort of stereo.
And the bass is pretty straightforward, yeah. Okay. So this is the radio mic, battery operated. Quite straightforward, AA batteries. We've got the rechargeable ones that we use, so they go in there. I've not got any with me, but
that's okay.
Then
there's a button on the bottom.
Once you put the batteries in, it normally turns on straight away, but if it doesn't, there is the red button is the on and off button. Yep. Usually we just leave this in the stand. It's just a lot easier, but as I say, you can move it around and talk
so that doesn't need a mic cable?
This one doesn't need a mic cable. Basically what happens is, it's a radio mic, so the radio wave is transmitted to the transmitter at the mixing desk, and there's a channel separate for the handheld mic. Okay.
Now underneath the lectern, it's what's called a stage box.
This is another stage box. This is for, as you can see there, the organ and congregation mic. These are usually not used as in for volume in the service, but they're for the audio for the CD or WebEx.
Just while we're here, this little platform here actually lifts up, and underneath the top corner there's a couple of on-off switches, which is the power for the church organ.
So this is the microphone receiver from the radio mics. There's 3 radio mics. The handheld one, which we saw, and there's 2 clip-on mics. So the one with the white tape on goes to the white one. Yep. There's one with a yellow and green sticker on, which goes to that one, and then there's one with the red one.
So which channel is which one? So far right?
The far right is the handheld with the white mark. Yep. Sue normally uses a red one.
Sue Timmins.
Sue Timmins, yeah, the vicar, yep. Which is the red one. And whoever else leading or preaching uses the yellow and green one.
So we've got channel numbers there, don't we? That's channels 22, 23, 24?
Yes.
So at the bottom of each channel, you've got a channel number.
Yeah, so the radio mic's going to the separate channels, 22, 23, 24.
But we don't, there's a lot of numbers there on each screen. We don't really need to know what they are, really.
Yeah, these are just radio frequencies that
we never adjust them.
No, because they're linked to the microphones. The only one you really need to look at is the mute button, and there's also a battery power button on there as well.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Right. Bit about the mixing desk?
All right, the mixing desk. Well, we saw previously the stage box. We plug the mics into the stage box, or the mic cables into the stage box, and the stage box comes through to the mixing desk.
So we've got a channel for the yellow mic, which
with the yellow mic.
Which channel is that?
We basically labelled them all, so it makes it a lot easier for the people on the sound desk. So the yellow, so we plug it into the yellow input, and it'll come out of the yellow one.
So it's channel 5.
So is it? Yeah, channel 5. Yeah.
So what can you give us a brief description of the bells and whistles on channel 5?
Yeah. So start at the top. We've got the gain. That's the master volume, basically. For
that microphone?
For that microphone, yeah. And then these are the equalizers.
What do they do?
It's basically treble, middle and bass, so you can adjust for each singer. Usually we don't adjust these for the singers, we mainly adjust them for the speakers.
Right.
So they're pretty much, we don't really mess with them.
Although
you can do.
Some singers' voices are different from other singers.
Yes.
Right? It's useful to fine-tune
Yes, it is, yeah. Because obviously a male voice and a female voice have different ranges, different qualities that do need tweaking.
Now the grey ones are there for the monitors, is that right?
These ones are for the monitors, yeah. So the speaker that you saw on the box for the organ is what we call a monitor, which basically the sound comes through for whatever the singer or the instrument person needs or wants, instrument person and band member. So for example, for the singer in the yellow, it's usually the small one, which is a passive one. So whatever she wants or he wants, we can adjust accordingly.
So if we had somebody on a bass guitar, which monitor knob would be adjusted for the bass guitarist?
The bass guitarist is the 15 inches because the bigger the speaker, the better the bass.
Can you point to the 15-inch knob?
This is a 15.
So the channel 5 one, can you point to the channel 5 one for the 15-inch? So if they just, correct me if I'm wrong, so can you keep on pointing to it? So if the bass player wanted to hear more of the yellow mic, that's what you would adjust?
You'd adjust that one for just the 15-inch monitor, yeah.
Now, can you point to the channel 5, it's called Voice Solo Act, that one there. Is that for the monitor at the keyboard?
That is the monitor, the green one's a monitor for the keyboard, from what I remember.
Right, so that's the top one there.
Yeah, so if, for example, if the keyboardist wanted more of
the yellow mic,
that's one we would adjust it.
There.
And this one is the one that the singer would hear, the one in front of the singer.
It's another singer monitor. Yeah. Now the two knobs below that, do we need to say anything about?
Yeah, we've got the 12-inch, which is
normally by the guitarist.
Usually by the guitarist, yeah. So that's if obviously the singer wants, if the guitarist wants any singer, and this is for the recording, which we'll go through that at some point.
So for years now, we've used this little device here. Is it an SD card?
SD card, yeah. It's what I can't remember. I used to use it when I did a bit of recording.
So it records the audio only of the morning service?
Yes, but it records the music and the vocals.
That's right, okay. Now these red knobs, do we bother with these, Pan? We never touch these,
we can do, so... Well, because the speakers are pretty much central anyway.
Front of house.
For example, if that one was way over to the right and that one was way over to the left, you could have if you pan it to the left, you have it just coming out of that speaker. And if you pan it to the right, it just comes out of that speaker. But because they're quite central, it won't really make that much difference.
Okay, so what we're talking about here is, if you can see the pulpit, just there, the pulpit there, above it is a TV screen, and then above that there's a black box. That's what we call one of the front of house main speakers. There's a church organ, there's a TV screen, and above that, it looks like the light is hiding it, that's front of house right. So again, these are the main volumes. And in the north chancel, which is over this way, there's a third main speaker, isn't there? Now they relate to what here?
These are the main speakers, the volume, the master of the volumes, yeah. So main left, main right, and north aisle. That corresponds to that one, and that's that one.
Normally, that red slider, would you set it to about 0 roughly, do you?
We've got what we call a loop system, which assists people that wear hearing aids, and that only becomes active pretty much when we're at 0. So we usually, for all the service, the main ones are at 0.
Now, at the top of each channel is a red light. What's that for?
That's the mute button. So if they're on red, you're not going to hear anything out of that speaker. So
all three are currently muted.
So
they're now active.
They're now active, yeah.
Yeah. So can you switch them on again, please, just so you can see the difference. That's right. Okay.
And the same goes for these as well. If these are, so for example, the yellow, we'll go back down to the yellow mic again. So no matter what level this will be at, you won't hear anything because it's on mute.
Yeah, that's right.
So you have to remember to unmute them.
Okay. Right. You see that now?
Oh, yes. That is...
shows what signal you're getting.
Because the signal you're getting and the strength of that signal.
That's right.
Yeah. Usually we want to try... Usually anything above the second yellow is probably too loud or too much signal.
Now we've got headphones.
Yeah, I've got headphones.
And where do they plug in?
Ted, 2 ticks.
Where do they plug in, the headphones?
We've got a headphone socket which goes in to this one here. Ted,
Yep. So it goes in.
it goes in there, like that.
Now, why is this useful?
This is useful for mixing the sound, so you know you've got the correct levels, especially for the band anyway. So you know you've not got too much keyboard or too much, or one vocal's coming through too much.
So you can adjust how much volume is going through the headphones. Is that right?
You can. Where's that one? There. Your headphone level.
It's a headphone level there. Right. Okay. Now you can listen individually to a channel when the band are warming up, can't you? How do you do that? With PFL.
Yes. Basically, PFL means pre-fader levels.
Can you just point to one of them?
So if you press that in, it shows you it's pre-fader level.
Yep.
So that means you can listen to it with the fader down. So
So
nothing,
that would be that singer only.
yeah, so nothing's coming through the front of house. All you're hearing is what that's coming through. But you can mix them, so
Yep.
I find it useful if you want to try and get the mix of the vocals right. If you put on, and the green one as well, if you've got 4 singers, so you can get the balance of the singers correct.
Brilliant. Okay. Now where's the piano on the mixing desk?
The piano is keys left and right.
So that's channels 9 and 10.
9 and 10, yeah.
That's right. And bass guitar, just
Bass
beside
guitar,
that.
11.
Channel 11 is the bass guitar. Drums, is that 13?
Channel 13, yeah.
Okay. Oh, PC.
Oh yeah, the aux is basically when we've got a CD, an external CD that needs playing or something through a phone, that goes in there. And the PC is
So if we
when
play
we've got a
YouTube
video, we can get the sound on.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be heard at all, would it? Actually?
No.
That's right. Perhaps a bit about this area here.
All right, this is so. If we look on these buttons here, you've got 1 and 2, 3 and 4,
Yep.
which correspond with 1, 2, 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So the musical side of it goes through 1 and 2, i.e. band,
Yep.
and the singer side of it goes through vocals, i.e. 3 and 4.
So the band is on sliders 1 and 2,
Yeah,
vocalists on 3 and 4.
yeah. So this is useful if you need more vocals, not just one person singing, but you need all the vocals coming through. Or if the band's a bit loud, all the instruments are a bit too loud, it just helps to bring them down.
Bit of fine tuning.
Yeah.
Brilliant.